everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the
Geek
Buddies.
Hey! It's never the same. It's never the same without that little leprechaun.
It isn't. You're right, for sure. And sadly, we should say right off the bat, Shannon McClung cannot join us for this weekend because it is the birthday of his intended, his beloved, his married lady. He's in or his wife, I guess you'd say. Technically, that's the right term.
Married lady counts.
Doesn't count. I mean, technically, I'm right on that, but yes. Yeah. So, unfortunately, he couldn't join us for this. But if you want to enjoy the three of us having a fun conversation, you haven't watched our Loki season 2 finale spoiler review, you can do that. That is up on the channel now. But we're gonna get into a lot of things here. We're gonna talk some Marvel stuff, talk some trailer stuff, some Kevin Feige Star Wars stuff, and all kinds of other things that are going on here, including some Warner Brothers stash and animation film. So a lot to talk about for sure here on the Geek Buddies. But let's introduce ourselves. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, writer, producer, and host here on the Geek Buddies.
I am Michael Vogel. I'm a writer and producer of animated TV shows and movies. And even though Shannon usually does this, you can see my work currently on YouTube on the Strawberry Shortcake channel, Strawberry Shortcake Season 3, Barry in the Big City. You can also see Barry in the Big City Seasons 1 and 2 on Netflix. And you can also check out Strawberry Shortcake and the Beast of Berry Bog, Strawberry Shortcake's Perfect Holiday on Netflix right now. 2 more specials coming in next year because we got 2 more seasons to go. It's all very sweet. It's all very spicy. Go check it out.
Spicy. That's a lot. Wow, that's a lot going on there for sure. And look, we kind of figured, well, what's a good way to kind of handle things between the two of us? This week's been a lot of news. So I think the smartest way to do this, and Michael has begrudgingly agreed, is this. That's right.
But here's the question, though. There's no Shannon. So what is do I have a time limit? Are we just throwing this stuff out? What's the, it's Rocha's rapid fire, but how rapid is the fire when I'm the only one in the firing squad?
That's a very good point. In fact, I'm wondering if we can do this. You know, I should work this for next time, how we can make this happen here and put it together. Because I hesitate to do this, like bringing up a clock. But I don't think, because I'd rather bring one up that's like decorated. Do you know what I'm saying? And works for the Geek Buddies. So I don't know if this would necessarily work to go that route, like something like this. I don't know, Mike. That seems too busy. That seems way too busy.
No, that's too much. I don't like that. If you're only listening to the podcast, you lucked out because that was a very busy clock, and you're lucky that you didn't see it.
How about 90 seconds? No, how about 2 minutes? That we can borrow Shannon's 60 seconds and you have your 60 seconds. So I'm going to set it up here for this timer so we can go that route. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We are, it's the weekend. We're chilling out. We're having a fun conversation. All right. First up here, we should lead with this. Michael, you're an animation guy. I do like animation. We both enjoy Pixar. We both enjoy Disney. A new trailer dropped this week for Inside Out 2. This is apparently the most watched Pixar trailer ever in the history of Pixar. Blew all the doors off the records. Inside Out 2 coming back here. It is coming soon. And it was a teaser trailer. We had Ozzy Osbourne, Crazy Train, and we got introduced to Maya Hawke, who is playing Anxiety with all her baggage. And we also got announced the replacements for Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling. That is Tony Hale and Liza Lapera, respectively, coming in there to take their roles for this. So, Mike, it was only a minute and a half, but what did you think of this first teaser trailer for Inside Out 2?
I'm super excited about this for a couple reasons. One, Pixar needs a win.
Yeah.
To be fair, Bob Iger recently came out and said Elemental is like the most watched movie on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
so
what a surprise.
Even though Elemental didn't quite hit the heights of what we wanted Pixar to be, it ultimately ended up being a perfectly fine movie for Disney and Pixar. But to get back to that Pixar magic, it's been a minute. And I know that you and I actually quite enjoy Toy Story 4.
Yes.
Love Forky. But arguably, a lot of people say, did we really need a Toy Story 4? They've announced there's a Toy Story 5. Do we really need a Toy Story 5? I think what's great about the Inside Out 2 trailer is that this is a sequel that really feels right off the bat from the core concept that it has a reason for being. Riley hits puberty.
Right.
Like it's a straight down the line. You don't go, oh, well, what is this movie going to be? I feel like we already told the story. I don't know. Riley hits puberty and there's new emotions. Like, it's such a simple idea, but the second that anxiety shows up with all her baggage, you're like, yeah, man, puberty was some shit. Puberty was not great. Puberty was rough. So I think it just is it's a natural idea. It's a good idea for a sequel. And as far as Pixar movies go, Inside Out is one of the, I mean, they've had a really good run, and Inside Out is one of their best. And so coming back to this universe, I think everyone is really excited about it. I think everybody wants to kind of recapture that feeling. And, you know, I hope they nail it. But I think that from what we've seen so far and from what the core idea is, I am very excited. I put this at a high excitement level for me.
Ooh, yeah. The trailer did what is 174? I think that's right. Or 157 million views in 24 hours, which broke the previous record from Frozen 2 back in 2019. This one also sees Pete Docter stepping aside as the director. He directed the first one. Kelsey Mann coming in to direct this one. And apparently on TikTok, it brought in 78 million views, which is insane. TikTok's the place to be, I guess, apparently. But yeah, I like this trailer. Really enjoyed it. Like the new updated animation vibe to it as well. Never thought I'd see an Ozzy Osbourne song, especially Crazy Train, in a Pixar trailer. But damn if it didn't work, of course, because your hormones, your emotions, everything is going crazy, and a new switchboard for the emotions has to come in. It just was genius in the approach. And this is a smart teaser trailer, which lets you also know, you know, the first film, we're going to wipe it away here because we're moving on to the sequel. She's getting older. So this is going to be the new film that you all are going to enjoy from us. And the design of Anxiety is so perfect, right? She's just kind of unsettlingly looking all over the place. The hair is unkempt. The mouth is so big. All this baggage. And using the plural of we and having Joy call that out, I thought was genius as well. So overall, I was left very impressed by this trailer and looking forward to seeing what we're going to get, Mike. You know, because sequels haven't always been the best thing for Pixar, but this one looks like it might be very much in the vibe.
I mean, let's go through this really. Now that you said it, let's just go through this really quick. Like, Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, two of the best sequels of all. Like, they go, like, Toy Story 2 and 3 go up there with, like, Terminator 2, Godfather 2, Aliens. Like, Toy Story 2 and 3 are home runs.
Okay.
Toy Story 4 is good. Bo Peep is great. My niece is obsessed with Bo Peep in Toy Story 4, loves that movie. I think Toy Story 4 is a decent movie, whether you think it has a reason for being or not. Cars 2, maybe the worst movie that Pixar's ever made.
Yeah.
Cars 3, I quite like.
Okay.
Monsters University, I will die on my sword for. I know this is like a this is a unpopular opinion, but I do think Monsters University is a better movie than Monsters Inc.
Okay.
I'll go to my grave. And then Finding Dory is meh.
Yeah, it's
Finding Dory is fine. Finding Dory is no Finding Nemo. Finding Dory is watchable. It's better than Cars 2.
Fair. Okay.
I think that's is that all the sequel? I think I hit them all.
Incredibles 2.
Incredibles 2 is a movie.
Well, there you go.
Incredibles 2 is a movie, and it is a movie that Incredibles 2 is, I think Finding Dory and Incredibles 2 are in the exact same category of, it was really nice to see my friends again.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Like, it's not like Incredibles 2 and Nemo and Finding Dory are like, I really like these people.
Yes.
And it was nice to spend some time with them.
Right.
The movie was there.
Yeah, fair enough. Well,
so I'm hoping that
it's got a 50-50 on the sequel.
It's 50-50. I think they're 50-50. And I think, like I said, it's like, you can kind of go down the line. Like, Finding Dory wants to find her family. Like, that's a good idea.
Sure.
But, like, it didn't really, you're like, oh, okay. And, like, Incredibles 2, I think they really struggled to be like, well, let's give this is Elastigirl's movie. She takes the lead. And there were some good ideas there, but it just never quite fully landed the way you really wanted it to. Right. Inside Out 2, Riley hits puberty. I mean, that's strong.
That is strong.
So I'm hoping Inside Out 2 is more in the Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3 arena.
I'm going to assume Kelsey Mann is a woman. So I think it makes sense because you do want to, because I know there's Kelsey Grammer who's a man. So I'm going to assume that Kelsey Mann is a woman, but like, this makes sense too. You want to bring a female director who understands going through these emotions as a woman. and as a female teenager. So you're going to have that light touch or that approach to these things that have a little more context and nuance, a little more of an understanding of it. So I thought it was a smart move there overall. And from the teaser trailer, this looks well directed. So I'm hoping that when we get a longer trailer, we get even more of the style and the vibe and what they're trying to do in this movie. All right, let me move on to this one. We'll reset the watch. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Did you get a chance to watch this trailer?
I certainly did.
Okay, this is the first trailer for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which is, of course, the sequel to Afterlife, which came out just a couple of years ago here. And this basically sees the Spengler family showing up or moving to New York there with everyone in tow. Carrie Coon, Paul Rudd, and McKenna Grace, Finn Wolfhard, all there in tow. And we're adding Kumail Nanjiani, we're adding Patton Oswalt. But the basic story is that there's this artifact, and Ray explains it to us. There's this artifact, and when this artifact unleashes its power, it's frozen power that's driven, I think, by fear, and it spikes up, and it can destroy, can kill, and the last thing you see is your frozen tear ducts before you die. So bit of a horror edge to this, bit of a darker edge to this one, Michael. Some jokes for sure, but certainly the vibe throughout is a little bit of a harder edge. So your thoughts on this first trailer for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire?
So I enjoy Afterlife. I think Ghostbusters Afterlife was a nice movie, and I think it didn't quite get where I wanted it to go. And I think the end with the guys showing up was a little bit
too far.
It felt not that it was too far. It was actually not enough. It's like if you're gonna, they kind of showed up and they were like, "Hey, we're here, fans, it's us." But then they didn't really do much. The Egon part I liked. Like Egon's ghost felt more like integrated to the story, but I enjoyed it and I thought it got the right vibe. What I think makes a Ghostbusters movie work. And what I think a lot of the Ghostbusters attempts in the past failed to really land on is that Ghostbusters, the first movie, the ghost part is scary. Yes, those demon dogs are scary. Gozer is scary. Like it was the ghost part was very grounded and serious and dark, and then the guys were really funny. And what I liked about this trailer is exactly what you said, which is the ghost part looked genuinely threatening and scary. Like at the very end, when that ghost creature is coming out of the smoke or whatever, I was like, all right, this looks genuinely scary. And then Paul Rudd does his really funny Paul Rudd laugh. So it looks like the balance of it seems nice. It also looks like Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and Ernie Hudson are more integrated into the story and not just showing up. Like they're not just showing up at the end for like the member berries. Like this is more like, okay, they're all there. There's the Ghostbusters firehouse. Like we're in New York City. So it hit all the right notes for me. Ghostbusters is a tough one though. Like everyone loves Ghostbusters. Sony is like, we are gonna make Ghostbusters movies until we're dead. Like we're gonna make this franchise work. It's a franchise, like the promise of the franchise is great, and the execution in the past has never fully gotten there. But I'm on board. I will go see Ghostbusters movies as long as they make them. I don't care. I will go.
Yeah, right under the wire there. Good job. Yeah, I like the Ghostbusters. I like the Ghostbusters trailer. I enjoyed what we got in it. I liked Afterlife. I thought it was a kind of an interesting film, and in the end, a very sweet film. I know some people were upset about seeing Harold Ramis at the end there, but I certainly didn't have an issue with it. And so going forward, and we saw nothing like that alluded to here in the sequel. So it feels like that was the closing of the circle for that. And we're going to try and make something work here. And I like the vibe and the feel of this. I like that they're all Ghostbusters now, including Carrie Coon, who I have a incredible crush on, and Paul Rudd. So having these different disparate elements being a part of this team makes it interesting and fun. And the vibe is very similar to Ghostbusters 2, right? When we had the pink slime going underneath, that was also driven by...
We got mood slime that's emotional. We got fear stuff. Yeah.
So it's got the similarities and artifact and stuff. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I do know that our third Geek Buddy was not thrilled that kids are Ghostbusters. That was his grumpy.
What?
Really? I don't know. These kids are Ghostbusters. And I was like, listen, dude, Ghostbusters as a franchise is not just made for 40-year-olds who grew up watching Ghostbusters. Like they got that this if you're going to continue this franchise, like what's the next generation? And in the world of Stranger Things and all the like, it makes sense that I kind of like the fact that it's a family ghostbusting together.
Yeah, I'm wondering how many more franchises Finn Wolfhard is going to be a part of though by the time his career is over.
Listen, Finn Wolfhard's good.
I know.
He's good.
You're right. All right. Well, we would normally move on to Avatar: The Last Airbender, but we did do a trailer reaction for that. So if you have not watched that trailer reaction, that is up on the channel now. Me and Michael doing it as a Geek Bites episode from the Geek Buddies. So if you want to watch us talk about Avatar: Last Airbender, which I have no real knowledge of, and Michael has extensive knowledge of, and then watch the trailer and have our discussion from two different points of views, you can do that whenever you're done watching this particular show for sure. But I want to ask you about this other trailer. I wonder if you got a chance to look at this one. And if not, we can move on to another trailer. But Mean Girls, did you get a chance to see the trailer for this Mean Girls remake, which is kind of like Hairspray, a remake? It was a film that became a musical, and then they made a film with a musical. So Mean Girls became a Broadway musical. Now it is being adapted into film form. Everyone is recast except confoundingly Tina Fey and Tim Meadows. We add John Hamm. Renee Rapp is leading this thing as Regina George, and we get Angourie Rice, Australian actress from the Spider-Man movies and from also The Nice Guys. So what were your thoughts on this? This is a musical that had no extended musical sequences, but did have shots of musical stuff. So what are your thoughts coming out of this trailer?
First of all, sir, I am a homosexual. Did I see the Mean Girls musical trailer?
I never know.
I am gay. Of course I saw the trailer. So here's the thing about Mean Girls the musical. I don't think that Mean Girls the musical has the best music, but I think it's a really fun musical. Okay. It's a nice adaptation. Like for example, I think Legally Blonde the musical is a home run. Like, it was like, I love Legally Blonde the movie. Legally Blonde the musical came out, and that music is so good that I now love Legally Blonde the musical as much as I love the movie. The Mean Girls musical was like, the music's good. It's not bad, but it didn't like, it's not like it's not going on my Broadway bangers list. That being said, I kind of love this whole, you said, you pointed out Hairspray. Same thing's happening with Color Purple this year. Like Color Purple was a movie, and then it was a musical. And now we're getting the movie of the musical coming out. So I kind of like this trend. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to see this sort of full circle thing happening. And, I think that the catchphrase, "This isn't your mother's Mean Girls," is really funny. It's like, Mean Girls is an old movie. I don't think of it as an old movie because I think every movie that I saw as a kid is 10 years old, and that is not accurate. But I'm intrigued. I always do get a little bit nervous when a musical, the first Color Purple trailer, I think, did this too, though, where it's like, here's a really high quality, really cool trailer, and we're going to show you some dancing, but we're not going to do some musical numbers. And I think then the second trailer did. So we will see. But I mean, I'm down. Okay. Like, I'm like perfectly excited. I think Mean Girls is a great story. I do think with Mean Girls the musical, the story translates really well. Like, it's a really strong story. It's really simple and straightforward. We all love the Regina Georges of the world. Like, it just works. Look, I mean, like I said, I'm gay. We're going opening night. Like, it's going to be, I love going to a movie theater for a musical on opening night because it's like, we all know, if you're listening to this and you're a straight geek, that feeling of going to like opening night of like a Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and everyone's super excited. It's that, but super gay. Like Mean Girls on opening night is people just yelling "Yas Queen," "No bitch." Like, it's a vibe, and I'm there for it.
It's an awesome experience, that's for sure. Especially for those of us who are gay inclined. I appreciate that experience for sure. But yeah,
you're gay adjacent.
Yeah, I'll take it. But I like the direction of the trailer. Like, I thought the direction, like the costuming, the set pieces, the look of it, the way they were shooting some of these musical sequences looked really fun. And I couldn't take the Walmart commercial out of my head either, that just recently dropped with some of the Mean Girls coming back and some of the characters coming back to be a part of that. So interesting. It seems to be this kind of celebration of Mean Girls coming. And it is, Mike, it is almost 20 years since the film came out, 2004, which is crazy for some of you, aging some of you all right now. But yeah, so a musical. So we'll see what happens. We'll see once we get some musical numbers what this is all about. I am just confused why Tina Fey and Tim Meadows would retain their roles, but I guess because she's the creator and writer and whatever. But
also, like, I mean, look, God,
and I don't buy John
Meadows, but like, God love Tim Meadows and Tina Fey. Movie's 20 years old. They both look exactly like they did in the original movie.
I know. You're not wrong.
Like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, Did they? How? What?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Tina's a hottie. Ain't no doubting that. All right. Well, let's take a quick. Oh yeah. That one. When's that one coming out? That one is coming out on January 12th. So we're not that far away from that one coming out. And did I not say when Ghostbusters were coming out? Maybe I forgot when Ghostbusters were coming out. Sorry, gang. That one is coming out. Oh, coming soon, exclusive with you. So they haven't announced when it's coming out just yet.
Soon.
So, but it will be out soon. Yeah. There you
Soon.
go. All right. All right. Well, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with some more of Roga's Rapid Fire after this.
Bum bum ba-da-dum, bum 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 ba-da-bum, bum bum Ghostbusters.
That's good, man. I don't think you're taking Shannon's job, but I think that's good.
Sir.
This one, this one is going to be an interesting conversation, Michael. This one just dropped here on the Hollywood Reporter a few days ago. Kevin Feige, according to them, and according to Kevin Feige, is no longer headed to a galaxy far, far away. When he was asked if his Star Wars feature was happening, he told Entertainment Tonight simply, no. That's it. No big explanation, no reason, just no. And it was part of a larger interview with him in Vegas at the premiere of The Marvels. I remember he broke the story to Hollywood Reporter saying that he was developing the project back in 2019. And in 2021, news broke that he had hired Loki creator Michael Waldron to write the script. And I think there was rumors that Eric Martin took over writing season 1 of Loki because Waldron was more focused on this Star Wars movie. But now he's saying that it is not happening. So, Mike, I saw a lot of Star Wars fans roll their eyes at this because they weren't surprised by this. But what do you think is going on behind the scenes here? Why is Feige walking away from this? What's your educated opinion? And of course, you know people who work in the business. What's your knowledgeable opinion on this as well?
Here's where I think Star Wars is stuck.
Okay.
And it's an interesting thing because I don't think so. Kathleen Kennedy, who we've all talked, all y'all have opinions on.
Everyone's got
Kathleen.
opinions on Kathleen, yeah.
But one of the things that she sticks to with Star Wars, and it was George Lucas's opinion on Star Wars, is that anyone who comes on to do Star Wars should be an auteur director, meaning that like ideally they want the writer director. They want they don't want to do like, and Kevin Feige wasn't quite that, but he still is sort of like a visionary kind of guy, but like they want that, they want that singular vision. Right. Like they want someone to come in and say, I'm putting my stamp on Star Wars. And obviously with Solo and stuff, they've shifted that. Like it was, here's the writer, here's the director, whatever. But there's definitely is this is what this vision is. But what they've not done, maybe they're doing more recently now, and like maybe with Filoni and some other stuff, is sort of, here's the direction we're going with the universe. Like she kind of, the way that she talks about it is very like movie by movie. Like, so what we've seen, and in this like fucking revolving door of Lucasfilm, is Taika Waititi has a vision for a Star Wars movie. Guillermo del Toro has a vision for his Jabba the Hutt movie. Kevin Feige has a vision for his movie. And all of these people are great choices. They've all got good visions most of the time. But where is Star Wars going?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like there's not that person. Like, look, love it or hate it with Marvel, Kevin Feige is like, here's where we're going. We're going to Kang. We're going here. We're going there. And that allows all of us to sort of understand this is the direction. With DC right now, even though James Gunn swears to God he's going to come in and let directors do what they're going to do, and we'll, you know, TBD if that's going to happen, James Gunn picked a direction. And in the era that we live in, with these giant mega brands and these huge IPs that have tons of characters and lots of directions you can go, you need someone to be like, this is the direction. So it's not surprising that these individual people with their individual movies that are coming in and developing, those individual things are disappearing, because you're like, that's fine, but what does that mean in the bigger Star Wars picture? Like Lucasfilm is really struggling with, where do we go next? And you know, like, this is like, they've been, and Dave Filoni, you know, as a continuation, they've been eating off that George Lucas plate for several decades now. Like George Lucas, in the 6 movies that he was responsible for, really sort of gave us a lot to chew on. You love it or hate some of it, like it was like what we've been using since then, like the Jedi falling, Palpatine taking over, the Sith
Right.
rule of two, like all of these things, like we've been kind of okay, let's talk about this again, let's fill in these gaps, let's fill in those gaps, but they're at the point now where they can't do that anymore. They've got to go do something new, and I think they need to find that visionary. I think it's Filoni. I think a lot of us were like 100% sure it was Filoni after Ahsoka. I think Star Wars fans are a little bit split. Like, is it Filoni? Is it not? I don't know. But I think that's the real thing, is they need to find that visionary. So long story short, all of these individual people that are really great people, it's not surprising that they disappeared. I know that was more than 2 minutes, but I just needed to say my piece.
It was. But I you were on a roll. I didn't want to stop you. But yeah, the concern also becomes like, is this an indication that Bob Iger, let me get your thoughts on this. Do you think Bob Iger sees the absolute debacle that Secret Invasion was, sees that there are plenty of people coming after Marvel now, both in the trades, on websites, on YouTube channels, TikTok, what have you, and the Marvels is underperforming, which we're going to talk about in our main topic, which is all the Marvel stuff we're going to talk about. Do you think he sees it, goes, you know what, Kevin, the last thing I need you to be is distracted with another franchise, another movie, another thing. Do you think he's like, look, just fix this? We're pushing all these movies back now, which was announced. We're going to talk about that. Fix this, then we can talk about Star Wars. What do you think?
I don't think that's why the Kevin Feige's movie went away, but I do think that there's probably that, like, it's kind of like when you're a kid and you're like, Mom, I want to be in theater club and be in one of the shows, and you're like, go get your grades right first, then you can do your extracurriculars. I think that's where Kevin Feige's at right now. It's like, you can be in drama club when you go get straight A's again. Like, you got straight A's for several years, and now you're getting C pluses, D minuses. Like, get your shit back in the books, buddy. But I don't think that's the case. I think, honestly, the second that Lucasfilm landed on, we're doing some version of Dave Filoni's Heir to the Empire, we're doing a Rey starting the Jedi Order movie, and we're doing Mangold's Origin of the Jedi movies, I think everything else went away. Yeah. Like, that's what we're doing. That's what's happening. So all of these other things that were in development, and we were talking to these people and things, I think every single one of those is just gone right now.
Okay.
It's Taika Waititi. Taika's still out there talking about he's writing his movie, and you're like, okay, well then in 15 years when you finish your Star Wars movie, maybe that it'll be time to make it. We'll see. But I think I think he is just, hey, they paid me to write a Star Wars movie. I'm gonna turn it in one day. I'm Taika Waititi.
What about Rian Johnson's trilogy? Are we ready to kill this? Are we finally ready to bury that, or is that, you think that's still somewhere in the back of their minds?
I think that if they were really serious about whatever Rian Johnson wanted to do post Last Jedi, I think that he would then be the one helming the Rey putting the Jedi Order back. Like it would be like that. That's the natural. That's the one that's like, well, that would be what would happen next. I mean, he was really big on anybody can have the Force. He had the little kid at the end. Yeah. Like, if you were really committed to Rian Johnson, I think you'd be like, and then there's this movie that's about Rey. And that's going to be the beginning of Rian Johnson. And the fact that it's not, I think that's gone too.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the Benioff and Weiss one go the way of the dodo. We had Patty Jenkins, Rogue Squadron, move on out of here. So Feige joins that club there. So we will see.
Guillermo del Toro.
What's that?
Guillermo's Jabba the Hutt.
That's right, Guillermo's Jabba the Hutt, which he teased there. So yeah, all of that has gone away here, and I think it makes sense. Let Feige focus on Marvel. Square this away, and then he can, kind of explore something else after that. Because I firmly believe that if he gets this correct and rights the ship, by the time Phase 6 is over, I think the next announcement will be Feige saying he's leaving Marvel. I think they just want him to stay on until he fixes Marvel, and then he's going to take off. I just firmly believe that. All right, well, let's take a quick break, and we'll jump into some more here from the Geek Buddies right after this.
Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum.
I can almost hear Shannon saying, I like to make the songs about the topics we're going to talk about next, not the ones.
Yeah, but I don't know what the next topic
is.
That's true. Because we're in a Rocha's rapid fire, so I just got to do what I can do. Sorry, Shannon.
All right, let's move on to our next subject here before we hit our main topic, which is going to be all the Marvel news that dropped this weekend, a little bit of the Marvel stuff as well. Michael, I got to get your thoughts on this. I posted something this morning on Twitter. It's gotten some pretty strong reactions back and forth. Got into it with my brother over there at the Steel Wars podcast, my Aussie brother there. But there is a story that dropped yesterday. Warner Brothers took this decision that, according to a number of people, shook the entire film industry yet again when they initially took off Batgirl for $90 million. They made it a tax write-off. It shook the industry. Now they've shook the industry again here as they are no longer releasing the finished $70 million budgeted live-action CG animation film called Coyote versus Acme. This one starred John Cena. Bill Damashke, who took over Warner Animation Group earlier this year with that division, said the division was going into a new direction, and this seems to be part of the new direction they're going for. DC Studios co-head James Gunn was producing this feature overall, and quite a number of people, including Dave Green, who directed the film, spoke about how much they loved the movie, how much blood, sweat, and tears went into the movie, and how devastated they were about the movie. This movie tested well scores-wise as well in pre-testing for the film. So what are your thoughts on this? What's your feelings on Warner Brothers, David Zaslav, taking yet another write-off on a film that did cost $70 million, but was testing well, and they just kind of scrapped it, unlike Batgirl, which they said was unwatchable? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, look, I don't know that we'll ever know about Batgirl, but if rumors are to be believed, Batgirl was bad.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it wasn't, and maybe we would all watch it and been like, it's great. Given DC's track record of movies, I don't know that anything would have been great, but I think it's really disappointing what happened with Batgirl, but if the rumors are to be believed, okay, it was really bad. It didn't fit in the direction we're going. As soon as James, and we've talked about this 1,000 times, as soon as James Gunn and Peter Safran took over, all of the stuff they were doing is kind of like, well, whatever, we're going to reboot it all anyway. So like, it's like, okay, I sort of get it. The fact that this tested so well is really the head scratcher here.
Yeah.
Like, I really just don't understand why you would take a movie that extends your Looney Tunes IP, which is a super popular part of the Warner Brothers franchise.
Yep.
That was a good movie that people liked, and not do anything with it. Like, I just don't understand, unless it's just all like dollars and cents logic that is beyond me, but like, it just doesn't make, honestly, it's like baffling to me. What is the fights you got into? What are the two sides of this debate? Like, what are the...
Well, I mean, they're saying it's a $70 million, $70 to $72 million movie. By taking the tax write-off, they are going to recoup $30 million of the movie here. But the film was testing 14 points higher than above the family norm that you usually get for these family type films. So it certainly was doing well. But Warner Brothers has been cash strapped lately, and they wanted to add these numbers to their Q3 earnings. So for whatever reason, they couldn't quite work out a deal with Amazon, couldn't quite work out a deal with Max. Yes, they do still have to work out a deal with even their own streaming partner to make this make sense for them financially. According to them, I'm in no way defending this decision, but according to them, that's what they did. So it looks like they lost $40 million, but they felt if they had released the film with marketing, with budgeting, putting in theaters, people maybe not wanting to go and see a live action animation hybrid type film, they felt they were going to lose more money than if they didn't take the tax write-off. So, so that's what's your thoughts on that? Or when you hear that, what's your feelings on that they were applying it to their Q3 earnings, and that's why they didn't wait to sell it. They just went ahead and wrote it off.
I mean, that just sort of reconfirms what everybody's fear is about the state of the industry, which is when you have like businessmen, CEO, money, like that, when everything is a money decision, like, oh, look, Hollywood, for better or for worse, like, obviously the entertainment industry is a huge and lucrative industry. Sure. It's show business. There is a business side to it. Everyone needs to make money. But at the end of the day, part of what makes Hollywood is like, you just take these big, ridiculous swings. You let Kevin Costner do fucking Waterworld, and you're like, let's see what happens. And sometimes it doesn't work out. But the fact that a movie is done, like, I think that's this new thing. This new thing of like, a movie is done.
Yeah.
Everybody did it. It happened. You greenlit it. You said, okay, this is what we're doing. Here's the money. Go make the movie. We made the movie. We turned the movie in. People like the movie. and you go, you know what? But for financial reasons, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like that just is not. That doesn't jive with the I think the core DNA of what the Hollywood entertainment industry is. Like it's there's always going to be a business side to thing, but that is the business side far outweighing the creative.
Yeah. But I think that's the message it sends to creatives. And the point of my tweet when I put it out there was basically to say people need to stop treating Hollywood like with rose-colored glasses and we're going to make a film. No, it's a much more ruthless business than you think it is. Don't believe all the PR puff pieces. Don't believe all this the studio manufactured. It's 100 years, that kind of stuff. It's sweet and it's nice for us, but you've always got to have the perspective that there is a more ruthless side to the business. And yes, these are companies, these are businesses. And so if you're going to be upset, certainly be upset at Warner Brothers, certainly be upset at Zaslav, but be upset at the system that allows them to do this as well. Because if this wasn't possible for them to do, they would have just released the film in some way, shape, or form and taken the loss. But because there was a possibility in the tax system set up for studios to do this, I think that's the thing that might be addressed down the road. If this starts to be the norm for more studios to do this, I think legislation, Congress, yes, I think that's when it'll start to be an issue. Because even President Joe Biden was weighing in on SAG AFTRA strikes. So certainly that's something that can be explored here. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I feel bad because it sounded like it was going to be a really funny movie and certainly maybe another step in John Cena's ascension to where he's going. But in the end, I don't know. It's a lot of people were tweeting back at me saying, like, what does this message send to creatives? Mike, you're in animation. You've executive produced, you've show run shows, and you've done a feature film with the My Little Pony film. So your thought, I mean, when do you hear this, especially animation wise? Does this make you nervous for the animation side of things as well? And do you think creatives may hesitate going to pitch their stuff to Warner Brothers at this point?
I mean, here's the sad truth. I mean, look, yeah, it makes me sad for animation. It makes me sad for the creatives that worked on it. But the sad truth of it all is like, well, where else are they going to go? Like, yes, creatives will be super nervous. Like creatives will be super nervous to go to Warner Brothers.
Right.
And they'll be afraid that their movie won't see the light of day. But at the end of the day, you're hustling, you're doing your thing. You pitch your movie around, or, somebody says, come in and pitch on this movie. We're doing this Coyote movie. And they're like, yep, we love your take. Let's do it. You're going to go, you know what? I think I'm not going to let you pay me because I'm worried that you're not going to release it down the road. Like, that's not going to happen. You're going to take the money. Now, you might end up being disappointed, but you got paid. Yeah. And I'm not saying that to be like, you should, sour grapes, too bad for you. Like, it's super disappointing. Like we have friends who have worked for companies who did full seasons of animated TV shows, finished those seasons, and those seasons are sitting on a shelf somewhere because the companies decided not to air them. So it sucks. Also, you get paid, you got your paycheck, you move on and you do the next thing, and you're like, and that will always be the thing in your career that you're gonna get drunk with your friends and be like, that fucking Coyote movie, if you could have seen it, it tested so goddamn well. Like, that'll just be like one of your war stories. And I think, John, you're right. Like, you're right. And also, but I think there's two sides to it. The entertainment industry is weird because both sides exist, because there are very ruthless, very shitty people working in this industry. There are also very passionate, very creative people who are super artist friendly. And the entertainment industry brings both sides together. And that weird push-pull is what makes movies get made.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I think that this is just an example of the one side, the more ruthless business side outweighing the creative side, where things aren't in balance. There's also studios where it's all creative and they can't get their shit together and they don't get any funding and the movies never get made because it's a bunch of creatives that don't know how to put the budget together. That's another side of things being outweighed. Like, the balance is off.
Study Francis Ford Coppola's American Zoetrope Studios. That'll tell you right there. That's just because you have idealistic and creative and impulses, it doesn't necessarily mean you can handle the business side of things as effectively as other people in this business can, for sure.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
And just to let you all know, Dave Green, who is the director of the film, he is staying on and working with Warner Brothers on another project that's in the works at New Line. So certainly he's not out of the situation or kicked out of Warner Brothers. He's just, his film, unfortunately, is getting shelved so they can make some money off of it. And we'll see how this Cat in the Hat and Oh, the Places You'll Go animated films from the new animation division at Warner Brothers does, and if it validates their decisions here. Because if those two come out and sync, then wow, you got to reevaluate.
I would also be really, you know, like the whole. Well, we've decided to go in a new direction and be more theatrical, and that's why this movie fell through. Like, I'm like, that's sort of a fakey answer.
Yeah.
It's like, look, okay, Warner Brothers, you hired James Gunn and Peter Safran to go in a new direction, and you're still making us sit through Aquaman 2. So don't tell me that you're not going to release a movie because you're going in a new direction. Like, you can release the movie, have it come out, while you are also moving in a different direction. So like, it's kind of that's one of those fake Hollywood answers. Like, that's not a real answer.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. It's done to paper over the cracks, so to speak. All right, well, let's take a break here, and then we'll jump into our main topic. We're going to talk all the stuff going on in Marvel, the movies that are pushed, the rumors about Captain America 4 and why it's being pushed, and also talk about the initial box office for the Marvels and what that means for their box office this weekend right after this. Now, I'd like to point out that I did say it was Marvel's coming up, but you still did the thing we just talked about. So,
well, I mean, anyway, I figured I was on a roll at this point. Like, I was like, you know, like, let's just keep doing what I'm doing.
All right, well, let's jump into the Marvel thing here. And I think I want to start off with the news we broke yesterday in the hot mic. Jeff and I doing the hot mic last night. Jeff broke during the show, because he got this text during the show, that Captain America 4 apparently had negative test scores in internal screenings that they did here. And apparently they are reshooting three of the major action sequences in the movie. And this is the reason why Captain America 4 now has been pushed all the way to 2025 here, Michael. Let's just talk about that first, then we'll get into the other films that were pushed and the Marvel stuff. So what are your thoughts when you hear this situation? Certainly, we covered and reviewed Falcon and Winter Soldier. Malcolm Spellman continued on to write and direct Captain America 4. I felt the series was a bit uneven, didn't quite tackle the stuff as strongly as they could have, and the issues they brought up as strong as they could have, and of course the side characters, which we won't get into debate about. But now you hear that Captain America 4 didn't have good test screenings, and they're going back, reshooting a bunch of stuff, and then pushing it to 2025. Is this yet another Marvel headache? What are your thoughts on this?
It is.
Okay.
But at the same time, we're at a point with Marvel where I'm like, yeah, take the time. Like, I'd rather hear that you push the movie into 2025 and you're taking the time to kind of figure your shit out than say, oh, nope, we're good. And they just release it and just, it's another not satisfying Marvel movie.
Right.
You know, as Marvel is very fond of saying, they do reshoots on most of their movies.
Yes.
Sometimes to the detriment of their visual effects teams. But so the fact that they're doing reshoots, okay. The fact that they're reshooting 3 of their major action set pieces and the movie didn't test well is concerning. Right. Mainly because, and you know, we're going to get into this a lot when we do our Marvel's live spoiler review in a couple days, but like, if the movie's not working, is it the action sequences or is it the character story? Yeah. You know, like I think where Marvel's really dropping the ball in several of their movies right now is that their main characters and the main character storylines are not emotionally gripping. Like, we don't care about these characters the way that we cared about characters in phases 1, 2, and 3. And I think that that's more just like a core emotional thing. Like, action sequences are like a movie having amazing action sequences is always the goal with a superhero movie. But, you know, I just think that it just makes me worry about the movie as a whole. I think that Marvel has a lot riding on Captain America 4. I think that they're looking at Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts as the 2 movies that are hopefully going to get them back on track. And if those 2 movies don't get them back on track, I think they are in some serious trouble.
Yeah.
Deadpool 3 doesn't really count. Like Deadpool 3, if Deadpool 3 is great, it's going to be, people will attribute it more to Ryan Reynolds than they will to Marvel. Deadpool 3 could be a ton of fun, but Deadpool 3 sort of sits out. Even if Deadpool 3 brings Deadpool into the MCU, Deadpool 3 sort of Deadpool by definition sort of sits outside of a cinematic universe. Even when he's in the cinematic universe. So like if it's great, we're all going to be so happy about it, but it doesn't necessarily mean the MCU is back on track. Brave New World is the one that gets them back on track.
Yeah, it's a good point, Michael, because it's a co-opted franchise. Like it would have been established someplace else, so you're taking it over. It doesn't indicate or add to what you've been able to do. I agree with that 100%. I'm of the belief that we're never going to see that Thunderbolts movie. I have a belief that I really do feel that. It's my weird kind of feeling about this, is that I think they keep pushing and pushing and pushing Thunderbolts. And let me tell you something, Harrison Ford ain't getting any younger. And they keep pushing and pushing this movie. And to me, and I'm seeing a lot of people not liking Valentina now online. So I'm wondering if maybe they're reevaluating this approach a little bit here. And certainly I don't want to spoil anything about near the end of the Marvels, but it seems like a certain direction is being laid out. So I wonder if maybe they're just pushing it to kind of like, it's going to be that Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron. Then eventually they're going to announce it's not happening, or the Rian Johnson trilogy, it's not happening. And I just have a feeling about it. But I do think you're 100% right that Captain America 4 is something they're putting a lot of stock in. It is a difficult thing to sell a Black Captain America. So, people were certainly kind of having their issues with it. So we'll see if they're able to do it. You've got Malcolm Spellman and Dalen Mousson co-writing it. Just to clarify, Julius Ona is the gentleman directing Captain America 4. So we'll see if there's something to be fixed. But what your point I thought was great, Mike, is that they may be saying action sequences because that's an easier sell to be like, oh, they just need to fix some of the action stuff and the special effects. Cool. But it may be actually character shit that they need to fix. And they don't want to say that because that's been the big complaint about Marvel for the last few films and series. So,
I mean, look, I want Captain America 4 to make me a believer again. I want it to come out, and I think Thunderbolt is gonna come out. Like I don't think it's gonna disappear. I don't think they're gonna Rogue Squadron it. I think it'll come out, but those are the two that, like, look, Anthony Mackie is he's an Avenger from phases 1, 2, and 3. And so is Bucky. Like the both of them in those movies, and everybody loves Florence Pugh. Like that's strong. Red Guardian was a favorite in the Black Widow movie. Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross, and most likely a giant Red Hulk. Like there's a lot in these movies that you're like, this is mainline Marvel. Like this is getting us back into like the thing. And so I hope they're good, and I hope a lot of the delays that are happening right now kind of coincide with what we talked about that Variety article. Like I kind of hope that like they all went to their Marvel retreat and said, guys, what are we doing? Like we've got to get back on track here. And I hope that they fucking pulled some magic beans out of a bag and made a wish on a lamp. I don't know, like did whatever they needed to do to figure out what they needed to do to get everything back to a place where we're all going to get excited.
Yeah. And I want to, I'm going to say one last thing on this. And I'm going to walk slowly into this minefield, but some people have speculated that this could also be, these action sequences could be the delay, but the reason may be because of the character that Israeli actress Shira Haas is playing. Now, I don't know that that's an element of it, but some people have speculated on it. And certainly with what's going on right now with the Israel-Hamas war, maybe there's stuff in the film that she did that maybe Marvel doesn't want to have misconstrued or whatever. So I don't know. And in no way can we know that right now, but certainly that's something that people have speculated as well. Mike, you're a Jewish person. Certainly you're keeping tabs on this. Do you think there's any validity to that, or do you think it's people making stuff out of thin air? And I mean the character stuff is what I'm saying.
I think there's no reason to assume that is the case.
Cool.
However,
okay, all right.
Everybody is hyper aware,
sensitive,
hypersensitive, hyper aware of any Israel-Palestine thing at all right now. So it's one of those things you're like, is it possible? Yes.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the universe to make us think that that's likely? No, but sure, like Hollywood executives are reading the same news stories and looking at the same tweets and getting in the same arguments that the rest of us are. So yes, that's possible.
Yeah. And like you said, they're even more sensitive. Marvel executives are about getting this one right. So they really don't want to have anything kind of negative coming around it if that's what they're afraid of there. So I'm not saying they're right to do that, just saying it could be a possibility. But let's connect this up to the stuff that's being pushed, because not only is Brave New World being pushed, but also quite a number of these. It's now because that's being pushed to February 14th of 2025. So adjust your calendars right now. Blade has been bumped back to November 7th of 2025. Deadpool is shifted to July 26th now of 2024 from May 3rd. And as we said, Thunderbolts has moved to July 25th of 2025 when it had been set for Christmas of next year. Let's see. So now 4 movies are going to come out in 2025, Michael. Right now, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Blade, and Fantastic Four. So, your thoughts on these moves and these films being pushed? Certainly the SAG AFTRA strike and the Writers Guild strike had an effect on this, but what are your thoughts when you hear all this, my man?
Well, Deadpool sounds like it's just basically strike shit.
Yeah, right.
Like Deadpool's moving back a little bit, but it literally feels like, okay, well, they didn't get to finish up. They were almost halfway done. Let's get everybody in here. Let's wrap it up. It's going to take us an extra few months. Like Deadpool sounds like it's on track, except for like everyone's going to be a little bit delayed as we sort of suss things out post both strikes being over.
Yeah.
Brave New World and Thunderbolts really sound like they are part of the, sure, there was strike issues, but also these are 2 of our big Marvel movies, and we are aware that we are fucking up, and maybe let's take a beat and make sure we've really got these right.
And they're connected.
They're connected. Like, I think that, one can't move without the other. Like, those 2 movies really are going to be a 1-2 punch in the MCU. And then Blade, as we talked about last week, like, they're just like, what the fuck are we doing? We don't know.
Yeah.
Put it as far away as possible because we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Like that's 100% what's happening with that.
It's a crazy 2025 slate because you've also got Snow White that just got pushed, I think, a couple of days ago to 2025. Elio got pushed a few weeks ago to 2025. The live action Moana is supposed to come out in 2025. Avatar 3 is supposed to come out in 2025. And 4 other untitled projects from Disney are set to come out in 2025.
I mean, it's going to be 2025 will be a crazy year, mainly in a lot of ways just because of the strikes.
Yeah.
Like 2024, I mean, there will be movies, they'll come out, but like 2024 is going to be we will cut, like we're going to get done with 2024 and be like, there was a couple good movies, but it was a little light. And then we're going to get into 2025 and we're like, I basically was at the movie theater for the entire year. Like I never left. I weigh 300 pounds now and it's all popcorn. Like I just never went home.
Yeah. 2024 is like the what do you call it in the ocean? It's like the waves pulling back, and then 2025 is
tide's going out in 2024. That's coming in hard in 2025.
That's for sure. All right, let's move on to the last section of our Marvel conversation, Mike. Let's talk about the Marvels, not reviewing it, but talking about the box office because we should announce we will be reviewing it live on Monday night. The spoiler review, 5:30 p.m. PT. On the Outlaw Nation on this channel that you're watching this on, or if you're listening to us, it'll be there on the Outlaw Nation channel. 5:30 p.m. PT. We will have our spoiler review of the Marvels. But it came across the box office news came out here as we're recording this on a Friday afternoon. It is now, according to the box office, and according to the receipts that have been coming in here, the Marvels is shaping up to be the lowest domestic opening ever for a Disney MCU title with a 3-day swing of $47 to $55 million. That's lower than the Incredible Hulk from back in 2008, lower than Ant-Man that was in 2015 at $57.2 million. And some people, and this Deadline article even compared it to Howard the Duck, which debuted at $5 million in 1986.
How dare they do that?
That's a little much, man. But yeah, this is interesting. Disney, Sony Marvel's Morbius was 39 million in last year. Fantastic Four reboot in 2015 was opened at 25 million. 1998's Blade was at 17, and Electro was at 12.8. Friday looks to be about 21 to 22 million, including previews. So what are your thoughts on that? Because they got 6.5 million in Thursday night previews. So, what are your thoughts when you hear this, man? The I think the Rotten Tomato score is around 65%, 64%. Last I checked, the audience scores around 80, 85%. So, a divisive film, though, for the critics at least. So, what are your thoughts when you hear these numbers? What are your thoughts when you're looking at what this Marvel's box office weekend looks like?
It's a shame, but
Yeah,
it's not surprising.
yeah,
I mean, this is what happens. Like, we've watched it happen. Like, and look, I know some of y'all listening, like some of you love Multiverse of Madness. Some of you love Thor, Love and Thunder. Like everybody has their movies that they love. But overall, regardless of my personal opinions, you have just seen the interest level go down and down and down. And
yeah,
the average moviegoer, like, obviously John and Shannon and I have a lot of very geeky friends, but we also have a lot of friends who are more of the average moviegoers. Like they don't know the MCU. They're not reading all the comics. They're the ones that are coming to us asking questions, and they are out. Yeah. They are not interested. They are like, I mean, yeah, it's confusing. I don't really know. So should I see this? I don't like, there's just a lack of excitement, and the Marvels is bearing the brunt of it. And, we'll get into specifics when we do our spoiler review, but like, yeah, it's not, in some ways it's better than some of the other Marvel movies recently, and in some ways it's sort of like the same thing we've been getting, but it's certainly not what we were expecting back in the day with like particularly phases 2 and 3 of Marvel. Like it's just not there. What I don't enjoy is I like all of the go woke, go broke people on Twitter that are going to say, well, it didn't do well because it's 3 women and it's 2 women of color, and like that's not why the movie didn't do well. The three of them are actually quite lovely, and their chemistry's great. But like the movie is just not there, and Marvel's not there. And I don't even think, in this we did, Marvel was sort of blindsided by Quantumania. I don't think they're going to be blindsided by this. I think that they are battening down the hatches, and they knew that maybe they didn't think it was going to be this low, but they knew that this was not going to be a home run. Yeah. And I think that this is just part of, like, even before the Marvels came out, I think a lot of those articles about them kind of going on their retreats and saying, let's figure this shit out. Like the Marvels, it's not like they're like, we think the Marvels might be big, but let's just figure this out in case. They're like, okay, we all know Secret Invasion. We all know that the Marvels is going to be what the Marvels is going to be. Like, guys, let's figure this out. Let's get on track here.
Yeah, I don't think it's an overt sexist element. I know there is an element of that for sure. And there's a section of the fandom that won't go see it maybe because it's women leading. And I get that.
That's a small, I mean, you think about Captain Marvel 1.
Made $1 billion.
Yeah. And granted, that was in the middle of 2 mega Marvel movies. And so like it was placed really well. But yeah, the whole they didn't show up because it was women is just a made up thing for Twitter.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's more a matter of like, the recent Marvel offerings have not been great. And so people aren't going to spend their money to go and see this one. And this one didn't do a good job. And look, we all love Ms. Marvel, but Ms. Marvel, that was the lowest rated Disney Plus Marvel show. And so that tells you there's not a really strong brand awareness of Ms. Marvel. Teyonah Parris as Spectrum or as Monica Rambeau, she was a character in WandaVision, but she wasn't the lead in WandaVision. And it's been a while since WandaVision, so we haven't really touched base with her. And certainly there's been a lot of divisiveness over Brie Larson. So it was a huge boulder to push up the hill. I don't blame Nia DaCosta, and I don't blame the actresses in this film. It's more Marvel, and it's their approach to it, and the writer of the film, and all of that. I think it's just issues top to bottom. Because if you compare Loki to the Marvels, it's 2 completely different things. And if Feige was on top of both the way he should be, I don't think we'd have gotten such disparate offerings here in the end. So yeah, so we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, look, we all get annoyed about fans didn't show up to this. This group didn't show up to this. These people should support this. You should support this. But in general, when a movie's great, people show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not always. Like, I wish more people went to go see Scott Pilgrim versus the World back when it came out. So, like, there's always those outliers where you're like, man, people really missed the boat on this movie. But by and large, when a movie is great, people go. When Barbie and Oppenheimer came out, people went to the fucking movies.
Yep.
And if Marvel gets their shit together, people are going to go to the movies. If Superman Legacy is a home run, people are going to show up. Like, it's really... For all of the box office analysts and let's track this and people's movie-going habits versus streaming habits and people are more comfortable at home, whatever. If the movie's good, people will come. If you build it, they will come.
And to put in context, Loki season 2 debuted 39% lower than Loki season 1, and that's led by a straight white male. So, I mean, there's the thing at the end of the day. You got to look and compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges when you're looking at something like this. So, but we'll keep track of it. And I'm with Michael. I think it's sad all around. I just think it's sad all around. I'm not cheering for this thing to fail in any way, shape, or form, but I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't do well in the long run, which is a shame at the end of the day. All right, well, there you go. That's our Geek Buddies episode. Thank you all so much for joining us. As I said, don't forget to join us live at 5:30 p.m. PT Monday night for the Marvel spoiler review, which we will be doing live there on the channel, all three of us. So come and join us and have some fun.
It's going to be a wild conversation.
It is. And some of it was previewed in our text chain, which I'm very much looking forward to. Michael, what do we have to tell the folks here?
If you would like to follow us, you can do so on Twitter at geek_buddies, on Instagram at _geek_buddies. If you would like to follow John, you can do so at The Rocha Says. If you would like to follow me, you can do so at MKToon. Additionally, while you are doing things, you can smash that like button below. You can subscribe to Johnny's Outlaw Nation page. Check out all the amazing content he's got there. Leave your comments below. What do you think of Inside Out 2? What do you think of Ghostbusters Afterlife? What do you think of Mean Girls? What do you think of Looney Tunes movies getting shelved by Warner Brothers? What do you think of Kevin Feige's Star Wars movie going away and what's happening with Star Wars? And what do you think of all the Marvel news? I think that's everything. Let us know in the comments below. If you're listening to us on a podcast, go ahead and leave some stars and comments so we can go up in the rankings and more people can find us. And as always, the best thing you can do is retweet this video, post it on your socials, send it to your friends, and tell them to hang out with your buddies, the Geek Buddies.
There you go. Very well done, Michael. Thank you so much. Shannon would be proud. All right. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here. Have a great weekend from the
Geek
Buddies.
Hey!